Hello, beautiful creative people. Kiala Givehand here, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time if this is your first time. So today I thought I'd do something a little bit different again to bring together two things that I truly love: fountain pens and astrology. So I am going to walk you through my idea of an astrological matchup or mashup with fountain pens and inks. So let's get into it. All right, friends, let me tell you what I have on my desk for this little experiment and playtime. Before I do that, though, let me say this. I am about to share my personal feelings about my pens that I actually own and the inks that I actually own, and the mashup between the pen I would choose and the ink I would choose for the zodiac sign. And I'm going to do this for all 12 and just give you my personal reflections. Now, I'd love if you are familiar with astrology, or if you just want to do it for your sun sign, like what pen and ink would you pair for your sun sign? I'd love to hear that in the comments below. But I am going to I'm naming that because this is all my personal feelings based on the pens I own and the inks I currently own. The other thing is, this is inspired by a post that I saw years ago on the Goulet Pens blog. And whatever your feelings are about Goulet Pens, you can have those feelings. That is fine. I'm just telling you that this is inspired by something I saw on their website some years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. They did this beautiful astrology wheel, and it had like the pens that they would pair. And I don't have many of those pens on there, and I didn't actually agree with a lot of the pairings. But then I was like, that's their pairings. Let me show you my pairings. So all of that to say, these are my pairings. I am not saying that these are what map to the actual astrology and the zodiacal signs. As an astrologer, I know that these signs are not as static as we try to make them seem. And also, we all have all 12 of these signs in us. We don't just have our sun sign. We've got a moon sign, and we've got a rising sign, and we've got all of our other placements. We have all 12 of these zodiacal signs. So this is my personal mapping of these signs with pens and inks. Okay, so I'm just naming that because some of you are going to come in the chat and go, well, Leo is this and it should be that. And you're right. If that's what you believe, you are absolutely right. So let's start with, I'm using my Tomoe River notebook that I have. It's an A5 dot grid. And this is the one I'm using for my currently inks this year. As of right now, things are always changing over here. So I've blocked off the first, 13 or 14 or so pages for currently inked for 2025. And I've gone ahead and made myself a little color wheel. I use the stencil from Stencil Girl Stencils, and I will link the stencil down below. They are also the company that produces my 2 stencils that I currently have out in the world. So and I use this stencil every year. So those of you in pull pen paint, you're probably familiar with this layout, because I do this for my my pull pen paint colors every year. What I'm going to do is just go around the astrological wheel and map out, share with you how I've mapped them out. I also have out, remember this little jotter? I made this in the last video. It was a tutorial that I walked you through how to make your own handmade journal using Tomoe River paper. So that's what's in this little jotter. So I probably will work with that. I'm going to sit that off to the side. I also have my Franklin Christoph Vagabond pocket-sized notebook that has a bunch of little jotters in them, where I keep like ink. I guess it's kind of like a little ink journal, but I just call it my log, my ink log. And this is where I map each pen and the ink that's currently in it. And I love this little layout. So that is also out on the table. I have a little paper towel here for cleaning off my little dip pens, nibs, and brushes that I'm going to be using. I'm going to use a speedball. I don't know, y'all. This is something like a B1, B5, B2, B something speedball dip pen. I've got a little water brush here with some water in it. I have a paintbrush, watercolor paintbrush, and a glass dip pen. And what else do I have? Have some water off to the side. I've got all my inks set up in front of me here. And I also have this little swatch card that I'm going to have to find where I got this from, but I have several of them. They're for you to track your little ink samples. And so I'm going to be using this as sort of like my reference, and I might even keep it in with this journal once I get it going, but I don't know yet. I am gonna put the colors on here, but I also may come back to this or may not house it here, and I may put it somewhere else. Okay, so I got a lot going on. Let's get into it. So as I said before, my criteria were I had to own the ink and own the pen. So that's a big part of this journey. I've got all 12 of the pens already here, and in this case, I'm just going to walk through each of them. And this isn't a currently inked video, so I'm not actually going to ink up all of these pens because I still have pens inked from January. So I'm not going to ink up a set of 12 new inks or new pens, but I am going to talk about each of them. So the first one I want to talk about is the Schaefer Icon. I love this pen, and I don't use it very much. I don't even know that I've actually inked this one. I had one. I had to send it back for something. I can't remember what, but I don't think I've inked this one since I've gotten it back. I don't think I have. But I like this pen because Aries is an energy. First of all, it's a fire sign. So let's start with that. So red felt appropriate for that. It's also it's a cardinal energy, which means that it starts the set of signs that it belongs to, that little grouping of signs. And the energy of Aries is very much inspiration, like inspiring others to action. It's an initiating energy. It's a very daring and courageous energy. It can be spontaneous, but definitely action taking and confident. And that I chose this pen because it's, first of all, Schaefers are the kind of pens that you're just like, I don't know. I feel like Schaefer is tried and true. It's been around a long time. I feel like using this is like, yeah, it's just confidence. It exudes confidence. Like if I were to see someone using this pen, I'm like, oh yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So this is my choice for Aries. The other reason is Aries is also an energy that is about control and being a resource or being resourceful. It starts the zodiac sign. It's the first one. It's a very headstrong and direct energy. And this pen to me just feels like it is all of those things. It's easy to get into, and open it up. It has this sturdy heftiness to it, kind of like the ram, which is the, I like to call it the mascot for Aries. So yeah, I love the Schaefer Icon for my choice for Aries. Also, Aries is an innovative energy as well. And I feel like this pen just looks like that. Like it's a little bit different from like a traditional pen that you might think of. So I just really love that little hooded nib. I just think it's such a beautiful, sleek, and pretty powerful looking pen. All right, so that's my choice for the pen. Now let's talk about the ink that I would pair with that Schaefer Icon for Aries. I was torn between two inks for this one. Vernal Equinox and Pen BBS 218, which is a shimmer ink. And ultimately, I did end up going with the Pen BBS S218. You can even see at the bottom before I shake it up, it's got tremendous shimmer in there. And I feel like Aries is an energy that you can't deny it. It is, when it is present and you know it's present. So let's do a swatch of that. I'm going to start by dipping my little speedball in there. I'm not going to ink the pen because, like I said, I have a bunch of pens already inked. So, oh, that's a yummy color. Loving it so very much. It has this, like, I'm red, but not really. It's got that kind of energy going for it. And I said I was going to do a little, I think what I'll do for the ink swatch, yeah, I think I'll just do a little bit of a drag out there. So, all right. I love that color so very much. It is fantabulous. Try to get to that before it dries up too much. I think that is a lovely color, and it just speaks to the bold, courageous energy of Aries to me. So we're going to go with that. We're going to let that dry. You'll see that shimmer start to show itself, which I think is really beautiful. So the Schaefer icon mapped with pen BBS 218. And I will mark, I'll come back and put the wording in for all of these as I go around. All right, my next pen, and this one is for Taurus. And there's a lot of story I could tell about this pen. So let me start by saying a little bit about Taurus first, because I think that will be helpful to just kind of get a sense of why I've chosen this. So Taurus is the bull. It's the second sign of the zodiac wheel. It's a fixed energy, and fixed energy, an easy way to think about fixed energy is it is sustainable. It's an energy that is long lasting, and reliable. It's a reliable energy. And so Taurus is the earth element, and it's this very earthy, practical, sort of reserved, but also dealing with the senses a lot. When I think of Taurus, I think of Ferdinand the Bull. If you know that cartoon, if you don't, just Google or put it in YouTube here. Ferdinand the Bull. It's this idea of like, I am strong and I am fierce and I've got these horns that will, knock you out, but I'm also soft and I just want to lay in the roses and smell the roses. Like it has a softer side. It wants to experience life through all of its senses: smell, taste, touch, hearing, seeing, all of the things. And it's an artistic energy. It's dependable. It's loyal. It really does concern itself with comfort and wanting things to be beautiful in its world, or in the world in general. And so I feel like this pen, now that I've said a little bit about Taurus, this pen, which is it's actually what we call a Franken pen. It's two different pens put together. So here's the story behind this pen. At I want to say an Atlanta pen show, maybe the DC Super Show one year, possibly the Philly show. I don't know. One of the shows that I went to might have been the San Francisco show. In fact, I think it might have been a San Francisco show a few years back, several years back at this point. And Jim Rouse, who was the nib master at Franklin Christoph at the time, rest in peace, Jim. He had worked for Schaefer previously, and he had all of these Schaefer pen parts. And so he got together with the people who do the pens and turn the pens at Franklin Christoph, and they put together a Franken pen. So the cap and the nib section are from Schaefer, and the body is from Franklin Christoph. And I cannot remember this material. I want to say it's something like primary manipulation number 12. I don't know. I'm making up that number, but I think it's called primary manipulation. But at the time, Jim had these I don't think I have a converter in there or anything. Yeah. Jim had these out where you would pick your nib that you liked, you pick your body part, and you put them together. And I had been walking all over that fountain pen show looking for what is called a Schaefer PFM. A Schaefer pen for men is what it's called. Now, this isn't quite the pen for men. This is actually called the Legacy Fantasy or something of that nature. But it has that same feel. And if you notice, it's kind of got a similar energy. So I was thinking we've got a ram and we've got a bull. And so they kind of feel like they go together. So I thought that would be a good sort of, coming next. But also I feel like this pen speaks to that sort of Venus ruled energy of Taurus, where it's like a little more luxurious. This one's a little more like businessy, futuristic even. And this one's more like, I have been around for a while. I am a staple on this page. It has that energy, which is very much Taurus energy, right? It likes to build a foundation, get comfortable, and not move. That's also what the fixed energy means. So I felt like this pen was a great pen, or is a great pen to map for the Taurus energy. And I just love the pen, the feel of it. It's a sturdy pen in my hand. It writes so beautifully, and I don't use it enough. My favorite ink to actually put in this pen is called, oh goodness, it's something like copper, ancient copper. No, it's not called ancient copper. Here, I want to tell you the name because this is an ink that I have been looking for, and it feels like it is just out. No one has it. No one carries it anymore. Let's see if I can find where. Yep, number 3. Yep, I did get this at the Philly Pen Show. Because I see it's right underneath 2 other pens that I got at that show. This was years ago. Let's see if I can tell when this was. 2018 maybe? And Jim already had it inked when I bought it, but Blue Copper is the name of the ink that Indian Blue Copper by Diatramentis. I love this ink, and that's the ink that I prefer to put in that pen when I have it inked, but I only have like one little sample bottle left of it, and I have been coveting it like it is ambrosia or something. So my pairing for today for this pen for Taurus, I have paired, and I guess I should say too, the nib on this, let's put on the specs and see what this nib is. This nib, 18 karat gold nib. I want to say it's a fine. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a fine nib. In fact, I probably have it in my notebooks. Okay. But the ink that I paired with it, oh, hello. I actually did pair the Indian Blue Copper, which is the one I'm looking for. Hey, if y'all know where I can get some more of this, please help me out down below in the chat. Put it down there, because this is all I have left. This is it. My heart. All right. Let's swatch this one. Let's make sure I don't have any other ink in there. This color is, I don't know, y'all. It's just phenomenal. I love it. It comes out really blue when you look at it here, but listen to me when I tell you it has this coppery energy that is going to show up when it starts to dry. It's just such a, you know what? I'm not swatching on my little card over there. Yeah, it might be a little much to do right now. So I'm just going to go with this for now. All right, so that is my pairing for Taurus. That is the Schaefer Legacy Fantasy. Fantasy Legacy. I think, yeah, Fantasy Legacy, I think. Legacy Fantasy. Go with Legacy Fantasy, friends, okay? With the Diatramentis Indian Blue Copper. one of my favorite inks. And I don't know that, let's pull it up to the screen so you can see that a little better. Can you see the copper showing up in the blue? Just gorgeous. And I think I've said it here before, I'm not really a big fan of blue inks. Like, they're probably my least favorite ink to get in the world, to find, to work with. So let's go ahead and let me get myself together here and start bringing these in. Ooh, that looks way darker than it really is. But we'll see how it dries. That was probably a little much ink, a little too much ink on that, but okay. I'll come back and do the names later, but right now I want to just do the inks and this little card. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. So I'm really liking how those two sit next to each other. I think it's pretty cool on my little wheel, my little astro wheel here. Okay, so we've got the first two. I'm gonna move us along here. My third pen is for the sign of Gemini, what I would map from my collection with the sign of Gemini. Let's move that out of the way. Man, those inks are just gorgeous. That blue copper is like, whoo-wee, I love it. So, okay, so my pen for Gemini is, oh, y'all listen. All right, so I wrote myself some notes for this pen because I knew I wasn't going to remember all the details of the things I wanted to say about this pen. So this pen is from a company called Acme, and it's called Happy. And the artist who designed the pen body, his name is Tom Reeves, and he's an artist and designer who lives in Trenton, New Jersey. He's a writer and an illustrator of children's books, and I think he created his own comic strip. I didn't write that part on here, but I'm almost sure he created his own comic strip. So I love this pen because when I look at it, it just feels like people who are having a good time together, talking, hanging out. Like, that's the vibe I get from the design, and that feels very Gemini to me. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, very much like the messenger, the talker, the communicator. It is an air element, and it is very much an energy of like wittiness and curiosity. It's a very inquisitive. It wants to know all the things, and to know all the things, it wants to talk to you. It wants to know about you. It wants to, my mother is a Gemini, and I always say, she's never met a stranger. Like, everybody, she wants to talk to people, and people want to talk to her. And so this pen reminded me of Gemini very much. So I thought, yeah, let's map it. Tom Reeves is actually an African-American artist. And so that was the other reason. So, you know, here we are in the month of February, Black History Month. And I felt like I needed to have at least one pen representing, representing my heritage and my background. So this pen, the beautiful thing about Acme pens is you actually can buy the nib section, and you also can buy a rollerball section and interchange them. Do I have another Acme over here? I don't think I do. I have several Acme pens. I used to collect them. They were probably one of the first pens I started collecting. And so I have about 3 or 4 of them. And you can change out this section to be a rollerball instead of a fountain pen. And so the Happy Acme pen. And I don't know if they still make this pen or not, but I invite you to check it out. I'll leave a link below. Now, the ink that I'm matching to go with this, the other thing is, you know, Gemini is very sociable. It's also a very adaptable, kind of jack of all trades kind of energy. It also is like the life of the party when it wants to be. So the ink that I chose to pair with this one is called Raise a Glass, and I chose it for that very reason. Just the name of it. I thought that was a great name. This is a shimmer ink. One thing you should know about me, I love shimmer inks. Lots of shimmer inks are going to show up in my currently inks, and anytime I talk about inks, I love a good shimmer ink. So this was from the Diamine Ink Vent I don't remember which year because I keep them all in one container, but I probably, let's see. I probably have it in one of these. Razor glass. Oh, Inkvent 2023. And you can see it here on, it's a really shimmery, deep purple, but with lots of little shimmer in it. The other reason I chose this one is, I said earlier, my mama is a Gemini, and one of her favorite colors is purple. So I thought I would pay homage to my mother. And bring that out. We'll see if that shimmer shows up. I didn't do a big shake of it, so it may or may not do a shimmer thing here. I was trying to get it down in that little crevice. There we go. All right. I'm going to bring a little bit of that ink out here to play. Raise a Glass. That's the name of this one. And it was the big bottle, obviously. The big bottle in the 2023 Inkvent. Let's see what we get when we pull that out just a bit. Oh, that's a nice deep purple, y'all. If you're looking for a really deep purple that also has a little shimmer to it, I highly recommend that. It is gorgeous. All right, that's pen number 3. That is for our Gemini energy. The other reason I thought the shimmer was pretty cool is because Gemini is also a very, the best way I can say is kind of like a alert energy. And so you see it. The Geminis in the room, you're just gonna see them. That's just who they are. All right, I'm gonna move on to Cancer. And for Cancer, I chose a Franklin Christoph Model 02 for a number of reasons. Number one, Cancer is my, oh shucks, hold on y'all, before I go to Cancer. Let me put, I'm going to remember this swatch card. Can one of you remind me to get this? I said that as if I was live. I am not live. I just like to think that y'all are back there. All right, here's our Gemini color. All right, next time I'm going to remember. Telling that to my brain. Brain, next time, let's remember to swatch on this little card. All right, moving on to Cancer. My choice for Cancer is a Franklin Christoph 02. And let me give you a little bit of info why. So my husband is a Cancer, sun sign. And Cancer is the water element. So first of all, I thought, yeah, let's get something that kind of has that watery look to it. And so this blue is the Van Ness. I don't know that there was anything special other than the Van Ness special edition that Franklin Christoph did with the company Van Ness pens. And again, I wrote myself some notes on the pen because I knew I wasn't going to remember all the things. But this was a collaboration color that Franklin Christoph and Van Ness did some years ago. And somehow I ended up with 2 of them that are very similar. One of them I bought at a fountain pen show, and the other one, this one, or the other one, I don't remember which one, I bought directly from Van Ness. And it was kind of like, I sent them an email. I was like, oh no, I missed the pen by 1 day. And I was traveling and I missed it. I got my days thrown off. And she was like, well, I'll put your name on a waiting list. And if anybody returns a pen or somebody who's supposed to pick theirs up doesn't come, I'll give you a call and let you know. And lo and behold, someone who was supposed to come pick their pen up changed their mind. And I was able to snag this one. And I just love this pen. I actually have a couple other Franklin Christophs in the same or similar color. Not exact same, but similar. The other thing I will say, I chose this for Cancer because Cancer energy in our charts is very much the energy of like our emotions, coming back to that water element. It's also a cardinal energy. It starts the next grouping of the next trio of signs. It's a very feeling energy. It's very receptive and It is also really protective of family. It has a very maternal, nurturing sort of energy. And this is true whether you are, male-bodied, female-bodied, doesn't matter. The energy is a very maternal, taking care of, nurturing others, looking out for others kind of energy, very protective of the people that it loves. And if you know anything, it's also very creative energy. And if you know anything about our Cancerian folks in the world, that crab mascot, like I like to call it, carries its home on its back. And I thought that the O2 was great for that, because this pen is, it looks like it's going to be a really long pen, but when you take the body of the pen and you seed it, you post it, it goes fully into the cap. And I just feel like that is so indicative of like the crab going into its shell. So I thought this was a great pen for all of those reasons for our Cancer energy. Now, the ink that I paired, I actually had 2 inks in mine: Blue Moon from Robert Oster and Moon and Stars from Pen BBS. And now listen, one is a shimmer. Is this a shimmer? I think this is a shimmer. The Blue Moon is a shimmer. And I thought, okay, we're talking moon energy because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So then I saw this one, Moon and Stars, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that. And something tells me they're both a shimmer, but because most of Pen BBS is a shimmer. I think I'm going to go with, well, how about this? Let's just do a quick little, this is why we have the jotter. Let's do a quick test and see which one. This one feels like it's going to be dark. I don't know why, but let's find out. I feel like I've swatched this before, but maybe I haven't. That almost feels black, but it's blue. I know it for sure. I know it. All right, so that's the Moon and Stars. And let's do just a little bit of, yeah, that ink is way darker than I want it to be. So I think that one already has ruled itself out. But let's do a little bit of a drag here with the watercolor. And yeah, it's a beautiful blue, but it's kind of a darker blue than I wanted. So I think I am just going to go with the Blue Moon as my choice. But I also want to make myself a little note here that is Moon and Stars. Pen BBS. Okay, so that I don't forget. It could have worked, but a little too dark. All right, so let's go with Robert Oster, Blue Moon. Let's see what we're gonna get. I need to rinse that off a little bit. So I hope you all are doing well out there. I didn't say that in the beginning, but if you're sticking around with me and checking out the inks that I'm going to use, I'm going all in. I didn't even wait. I didn't even test it. And I'm mostly picking it because I love the name to match with this. So I'm fine to just say yes to this one without a lot of muss and fuss. Plus, I think that blue coming, I did also for a moment consider this Tropical Glow by Diamine. It has a lot of little shimmer in it. It's a really beautiful blue as well, but it didn't make the cut. So we're going with the Robert Oster Blue Moon. Let's just do a little bit of a water drag here to see what we get. I like how they when they start to dry, how that watercolor, adding the water to it and just dragging it out gives it this really beautiful effect. So that's kind of like the fully saturated version, and then this is and I love seeing that. All right, that's our Franklin Christoph. Again, that is for the Cancer, ruled by the moon energy. Okay, moving on. Let's go to our next pen. Now, our next sign in the zodiac. Oh, I did it again, y'all. I'm just going to come back to that card in a moment, and I'll try to remember it when I remember it. I'm going to move on to the next pen. The next pen is Leo. And I chose the Pilot Vanishing Point limited edition Crimson Sunrise. I happen to have pen number 1956 out of 2017. So this pen is the limited edition from 2017, and I adore this pen so much. It is my baby. I think it was a part of my currently inked. No, it was not. I think the currently inked is the other one. So this pen is a retractable, if you're not familiar with the Pilot Vanishing Points. And every year, I think every year, they make a special edition, and they only make the number that is also the number of the year. So this year's will be, they'll make 2025 of whatever it might be. So this one was really special to me. I, again, purchased it at one of the pen shows, and just exquisite. Absolutely exquisite. Love it to pieces. Okay. So this pen, I chose it for Leo because of this sort of beautiful gradation. This is called Crimson Sunrise. And so it goes from like this reddish pink up to this reddish orange. And I don't know, just something about that root chakra to the moving us up to our sacral. It just feels right. I don't know. I just love it. So I thought I picked this for Leo because Leo is that lion energy. It is the self-confident, self-assured, very radiant. And this feels like it's radiating to me. Though that ombre feels like it's just coming from dark, dark, deep, 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 and then bursting and radiating out. I love that. It's a very dramatic pen. Leo, very dramatic energy in our charts. It's our self-expressive part of us. It is the part of us that is powerful, feels focused and confident. It's the part of us that is really loyal and loving, warm and big-hearted, but also lion. Let me just say the word lion. Like, it walks the perimeter and it makes sure everything in its kingdom is safe and protected, and any trouble knows that it is there. And right. And so I love this pen for that, because to me, this pen says all of those things. Also very like playful, and Leo energy can be a little bit flamboyant. You know, I'm a Leo rising, and so I know a little bit about Leo, and it can be the kind of energy that feels like it is just regal and royal. And that's what I think of with this pen. So the ink that I've chosen to map with that is actually one of my absolute favorite inks. It has become one of my favorite inks. In fact, I need to see if they, nope, sorry, that's not true. I actually was going to choose Spiced Apple, which is my new love. And I need to see if they have that in a big bottle. I have not checked, but I actually ended up going with Red Robin, because Red Robin is a standard ink, no shimmer in the ink. And I went with that because I feel like Leo doesn't need to call attention to itself. I feel like when you are in balance with your Leo energy, you exude radiance, you exude power, you exude confidence, you exude self-assuredness, and yeah, you don't need to add anything. You don't need to embellish. You just need to be yourself. And so I felt like this ink, and it brings that fire energy, because Leo is a fire energy. So I thought this did a great job. This Red Robin, and this is from the ink vent. Let's see. This is from Ink Vent 2021. It was the 10th one, and it's just it's a beautiful red, but it's kind of understated. I mean, I have some reds that are like beat you over the head. I am red kind of reds. And so I thought this Red Robin would be a really good one. So let's swatch that. And I'm going to bring the darn card over here so I can see what I'm doing. All right. So Red Robin is what I've chosen for our Leo energy. And it's almost like the same as that Aries fire energy without the shimmer, which I personally think is a great way to kind of think about it. About those two energies and how they show up. Okay, Red Robin. Oh, it's yummy. It's a beautiful red. It really is. I can't say enough good things about this red. Let's just drag that out a little. Okay. All right. Move it. I did it again. You know what? I'm giving up on the card right now. Because it feels like, well, let's just go ahead and do it. It feels like my mind does not want to swatch these darn colors onto this card. All right, that's Leo. I skipped my Cancer. I'm going to go back and do it. Let's go back and swatch it. Cancer was Blue Moon by Robert Oster. Y'all listen. Do not go out in public quoting me on how to say some of the names of these inks, of these brands. Don't quote me because there is a slight chance I'm not doing it right. Okay, Cancer. I really love that blue. And I don't like a lot of blues, y'all. I don't like a lot of blues, but I'm loving the yumminess of that. Okay, so we have a lot more to go. So let's keep moving. My next pen is for the lovely Virgo energy in our chart. And I've chosen the Lamy LX, which is like the luxe, the luxurious. LX is luxe. This is the rose gold. And I don't want to be quoted as saying this, but for some reason, let's see if I have this inked up. I don't know if I do or not. I don't. For some reason, I remember this being maybe like the first limited edition in the aluminum. But don't quote that, please and thank you. So it has like a gold coated clip. It's got this translucent triangular. It's like a safari but made with aluminum. Is kind of how I think about the LXs and the ALs. Is they're basically a safari made with different body material. The other thing I'll say about this is I love the nib that came with this. This little black glossy nib. It's a steel nib and I really love it. And so this rose gold for Virgo. Now let's talk about Virgo for a moment. Virgo is an earth energy. It's very much an energy of like being detailed and very disciplined and efficient, very practical energy, precise. It is, and this pen just feels like that to me. It feels like a pen a Virgo might have because it is, I don't know, I feel like they paid attention to some beautiful details with this pen. And so, I don't know, this just felt like Virgo to me. So this is the pen I went with for Virgo. Now, the ink that I matched with this one is the Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua. And I love it. I love this pairing. So let me just clean that off. And this time, I'm going to start with this card so that I get it. I remember to get it done. All right, let me do a little shake of this because I feel like it does have a little shimmer in it. So I'm going to shake that just a little bit to get that. I think I have a few bottles of this that I have been hoarding. I am a little bit, it's a confession. I'm a little bit of an ink hoarder. Hello, hi, my name is Kiala. I sometimes hoard ink. All right, Virgo. It's this beautiful rosy color. So it's kind of like pink without being pink. Y'all know how I feel about pink. Urgh. All right, let's get a little bit of that on the nib. All right, hello, Virgo. So the shimmer is subtle. Again, I feel like Virgo energy would be a little somewhat subtle in its, oh, I didn't mean to do that. But you can see here on my napkin, all of the shimmer that is available to you in that rose gold. So let me dip that a little further. Clearly I'm dipping a little far in there. All right, let's get a little bit of that out here so we can drag it out. So that's my Virgo pairing. Lamy LX in rose gold, paired with Robert Oster, rose gold. I feel like Virgo energy would color code. It would be like rose gold goes with rose gold. So that was the other reason why I did kind of a matchy on that one. Let's drag that out just a little bit, see what we get there. Very light pink without being too neon-y, bright, super bright pink. Okay, let's keep it moving. All right, next up is Libra. Now this pen that I've chosen for Libra, let's see if I can get it out of the, yep. This pen that I've chosen for Libra is the Sensa. And this pen company, brand, whatever, maybe has been around since the mid to late 1990s. I don't remember when I bought this pen, but I have had it for a long time. I lived in South Florida when I bought this pen, and I haven't lived in South Florida since 2004. So it was a while ago, and I rarely use this pen. A couple of reasons why I don't. It's a heavier pen, and it's also one of the reasons why I chose this pen for Libra. Look at it feels like, so the Libra symbol is the scales of justice, right? It's kind of like the scales. And it just feels like this is the fulcrum point, and both sides kind of have a very similar. So this felt like Libra energy to me. But one of the reasons, this is a heavy pen. This pen, I can only write with it for so long before my hand starts to feel some fatigue. So this would not be like a daily writer for me. Maybe if I just, built up my stamina, but I really love this little, I think they called it like a little plasma grip. So I love that part of the pen. Although I don't know if mine just isn't as squishy as it was when I purchased it the first time. So this pen actually feels a little bit better without being posted, but I also like to post my pens. So, there's that. And it just has this really beautiful sort of transparent see-through kind of energy, which Libra is an air energy. And I think one of the colors I like to think about with air is like a gray or a silver. So that was the other reason I picked this. It's also the kind of energy that I think Libras can be somewhat transparent, especially when they're trying to be diplomatic or they're trying to, mediate things and be impartial in some way. They like harmony. And this pen just feels like it, there's not any color. It's just silver. And that can be, it's like tone on tone, silver on clearish silver, right? So anyway, I just thought this was a very Librian kind of pen. So I went with the Sensa fountain pen, and this is no longer the body style that they make for this pen. From what I understand, there's a new body style for it. So we're gonna call this an antique. All right, that is my pick for Libra. Now the ink that I went with it for the name Harmony. This is from the Diamine ink vet. Let's see which one. Harmony. This is from the 2021, and there it is. It's a purple, but it is a standard purple, so no shimmer, no sheen in it, just a standard purple. So let's swatch that. And I chose this one specifically for the name of it, because Libras at their core, they just want everybody to get along. They care about relationships. They need people in their lives to, reflect back to them who they are at their core. So I thought the word harmony would be a good one for this ink. And to bring in just a purple that is a little more, or a little less bold purple, but just like, hey, I'm here subtly. I don't need to say a lot. You see me, I'm here. All right. So that is, and I just felt like that purple also for me speaks to crown chakra energy, which is very much the mental realm, and Libra is an air energy in that sort of mental realm. So I thought that pairing worked really well, even though it was also called harmony. So this one doesn't draw out very well. That's an interesting thing to notice. It doesn't draw, the color really almost shifts and changes in a way. Nice. All right, harmony. Moving on. So the pairing for Libra was the Sensa fountain pen with the Harmony by Diamine. Next, we have Scorpio. And let me say a little bit about Scorpio before I bring out the pen. All right, so Scorpio, we know it is like the scorpion. People always, talk about that. I like to say it's the stabby energy in our charts. And guess what? You can say what you want to say about your fellow Scorpios. Everybody has Scorpio energy in their chart, so you got it too. It is a water element, and it very much is the sign in the zodiac that's all about transformation. It's the sign that's about reconnecting and healing and power and control and fears and the mysteries of life. It's also about death and rebirth, like regeneration. So letting old things shed and fall away so something new can be born in its place. And just that, all of those things alone, for whatever reason, made me think of this lovely pen by Ben over at Mayfair Pens. It's called a Noldor. That is the model of this pen, the Noldor. And I love it. I think this was my first pen from Ben. And I just really thought, okay, we're talking about water element, but we're talking about a little, not on the surface water. We're talking about getting down into the deep parts of things. And Scorpios like to go deep with you. They want to keep asking you what if and why, because they want to know more. They want to go deeper into your like mystery, like what makes you mysterious. And so I thought this blue and this green really did that justice. So that's the pen that I would choose for Scorpio. And so for the Scorpio pen, I actually decided, I wavered a little bit, but because the color I chose doesn't feel like it matches the pen necessarily, but it definitely matches what I think about when I think about Scorpio. So I chose the Wearing Gauze Myths from Around the World collection. I chose Anubis. And Anubis is the Egyptian god of the underworld and protector of graves and protector of like the entrance into the underworld. So death, transformation. So I just thought that was a good pairing. We're about to find out, because I don't think I've actually ever used this ink for anything. So this will be fun. But I can already tell, like the pen is kind of like a blue with a green, but this ink has more of a, let's see if I'm right, brownish color, I think. Yeah. But apparently it's got some shimmer, so let's find out what the shimmer is like. It's got something in it. Let's do a little bit here. And I forgot to do Libra. At least I'm not 0 for 12. But man, am I close. I just keep forgetting. All right, we've got that. So it feels right because Scorpio is that kind of, likes to go to the dark places, isn't afraid of the dark, is what I would say about Scorpio. It's not afraid of its own shadow. It's not afraid of your shadow. It likes to do shadow work. So this felt appropriate for that. And let's just draw a little bit of that ink out. I am starting to see a little bit of the shimmer in that. So that's awesome. Yeah, I like that ink. I haven't used that ink before. Nice one. Okay, moving right along. We've got 4 more to go. Stay with me or come back later and watch the rest, whatever feels good and right. So our next one is mapping to Sagittarius. So before I go to the pen that I chose, let me just say this. Sagittarius is one of the signs in the zodiac that I struggle with the most. Not because there's any like ill will towards Sagittarius. It just, something about it doesn't always jive for me. And I realize it's because Sagittarius is this mutable energy. Now, I've talked about cardinal being the initiators, and I've talked, or the initiating, take action kind of energies. And I've talked about fixed being that sustainable, reliable, dependable energy, that long-lasting energy. Well, let's talk about mutable. Mutable is the energy that is like adaptable. It's like, oh, you want me to shift and do this? Okay, yeah, let's do that. Oh, what if we did this? Okay, it's the go with the flow. It's the change and adapt energy. And so Sagittarius as a mutable sign, it's also the, I think of it as the, I often, when I teach it as the roam and wander energy in your chart. It's the archer. It's that arrow pointing in any direction and going, I'm going to go over there. No, I'm going to go over there next time. Next time I'm going that way. But it knows where it's going, but it's not afraid to go a lot of different places. And so it's a very changing energy, sort of metaphysical, very idealistic, very visionary. It's a open-minded and very optimistic energy. It likes to have goals, but only if those goals have purpose. It's very exploratory. It likes to explore. It likes to go on adventures, very freedom-loving, and yeah, just it's ruled by Jupiter, which is, you know, a really big planet with all about like abundance and growth mindset and a bunch of other things that I'm not going to go into here because I think I'm going to do a pen series for the planets as well. Stay tuned. I'm going to think about that a little bit. But Sagittarius, so it's a fire element, but I chose a pen that might not seem at first that it matches, but hear me out on this and tell me what you think. All right, I chose the Kaweco Perkio. And the reason I chose that is because I think about Sagittarius being mutable energy, meaning it can change and shift. It goes with the flow. It's also very adventurous and freedom seeking. It loves that. When I think about the Kaweco Perkio, I think, okay, we got a pen that can morph and shift and become anything. I can interchange these pens. I can take the lid, the cap for this one and put this one on it. I can take, you know, the bodies and change them out. Like it just is this changeable energy. And so the pen is changeable. So I thought, this is perfect for Sag. So it's not necessarily that this gray and pink one, but just the idea of the Perkios, because they are interchangeable and they can be free and sort of freedom loving, right? Like everything can switch up. It doesn't all have to be the same. It can adapt no matter what. So I thought that the Kaweco Perkio would be the right pen for this. And no particular one in the set, but just the idea that this in and of itself is the adventure. It is the what cap am I going to put with which body and which body. And it's not even just the caps. It's the caps and the grip section and the body. So all 3 of those pieces are interchangeable, right? So I could have, I think I've shared this before, so I won't go into it. I've shared it on my 2025 5 pens for beginners. Maybe I can link that somewhere for y'all. But yes, that pen. Okay, so I chose the Perkio for that reason. Because I just feel like Sag is that energy that's like, yeah, we're going to change and shift and morph. It's all good. Now the pen ink, the ink that I've selected for this one, Obviously, I went with the name. It's Wanderlust, and I thought that was good. It's a standard ink. It's an orangey color, and I thought that that would be good for the fiery element of Sagittarius. But then the name Wanderlust is definitely for that exploring energy that I thought was really cool. So to me, that's a really good pairing of these colors, or of this pen and this ink. And it's a bright orange. And every Sagittarius I know, they are the life of the party, baby. Is your party feeling dull? Find your Sagittarius person in the crowd and tell them to liven it up for you, and they will. And so I felt like this orange also was doing that for this page. Like, it gives it this instant pop of color. We're down to the last three. Before I do that, I know this video is a little long, y'all, but thank you for hanging out. If you're still hanging, if you're still here, I hope you are. Okay, so we've got our Sag energy, our Sag ink and pen situation. Wanderlust this is from the Ink Vent calendar. I don't know which year, but I'll find out for you. This is Wanderlust. It was the 23rd day. And let's see which year was that? 23. That was from the 2021 Ink Vent. Wanderlust. Nice bright orange. Okay. Let's drag a little bit of that out and see what we got. Nice, nice. Not too shabby. I like it. Okay, 3 more. Now we get to my sun sign, Capricorn. All right, so whatever you think you know about Capricorn, you're probably wrong. No. Whatever you think you know about Capricorn, you might be right. It's an earth element. It's a cardinal energy. It starts that trio. The last 3 signs are Capricorn starts that. So it's a cardinal energy. It is very much an ambitious energy. It is practical, responsible. It's very hardworking. My mother would probably tell you that I was born an adult. Most Capricorn people who parent Capricorns might say the same thing. Very mature, and planning is really important, and they like systems and order and structure. Now, I'm not saying every Capricorn is like that, because it also depends on your makeup and all the other things. Like, there are other factors, but on a general sort of overview, Capricorn is that. And where we have Capricorn in our chart, we want order and structure. We might resist it, but really and truly on a soul level, we kind of want that and need that. And so Capricorn, I chose the pen I chose because, well, I'm a Capricorn, double Capricorn at that. And I felt like, if nothing else, I'm going to pick a pen for Capricorn that is practical and functional and efficient and hardworking and reliable. Like, all of the things that I think of when I think about Capricorn, I picked the pen based on that. So I went with the Black and White Vanishing Point by Pilot. And I did this, number one, I like to call this pen the Stormtrooper. Hello, Star Wars fans, are you out there? Where are you? So I chose this pen because this pen is practical to me. You can pick this pen up, you click, you write. It's sleek, nice design. Sometimes Capricorn, we tend to see the world black and white. Just like, hey, it either is or it isn't. There's no gray here. This is the truth or it's not the truth. I don't want to hear anything about white lies. Right? We can be very black or white kind of thing, right? So I thought this was a great pen for Capricorn for that reason. Now, the ink that I paired with this pen is the Stargazer. This was in the Diamine. I don't remember which. I want to say this was last year, 2023 maybe. Well, this is 2025, so last year would have been 24, but oh, I'm wrong. It wasn't. It was... Wow, this one's way back. This one was actually 2021. And so I picked it because, again, it's a practical color. It's not blue, it's not black. It's like a blue-black, and it's got a little bit of shine and shimmer and sheen to it. So I picked Stargazer for those reasons, and also because, you know, blue and black are kind of like the standard document colors. If you're going to sign a document, very practical, you're going to use black or blue. So I thought, let's go with a black-blue color. I almost went with my Twilight by KWZ, but I opted not to go with that one because this looks like stormtroopers from Star Wars, so Stargazer felt right. You see what I did there? Like, all the reasons. I gave some thought to this, y'all. I didn't just, this isn't willy-nilly. I really did give this thought. All right, so I went with Stargazer, also because it's a shimmer and a sheen. And again, that felt like, okay, I'm getting the best of both worlds. So let's swatch this. I'm very excited about this. And I think this pen happens to already be inked, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this one's already inked with some, what is that? I don't know what that is. That might be, oh, I guess I could look back in my thing to see what that is. All right, so let's go with this. I'm gonna shake it up really good because I see the shimmer and the sheen down there. Make sure we get it all into the ink. All right, here we go for Capricorn. It's a nice deep blue-black color, and I like it a lot. Nice, almost like an indigo, but I'm pretty sure there is some shimmer in this. And a little bit of sheening. So we'll let it dry and see what it does. Also, I feel like that might be an unexpected color to come out of a black and white pen. So that just felt like it'd be a great choice for Capricorn. All right, so my pairing, the Stargazer ink with the black and white Stormtrooper Vanishing Point by Pilot. All right, y'all, we're in the home stretch. Next up, we have... Did I do that? Yes, I did. Okay, next up we have Aquarius. And Aquarius is called the water bearer, but it's an air sign. And so I love Aquarius energy because it is this futuristic or future-oriented energy. It's a very independent, freedom-loving, service-oriented energy. It likes to be, I think of our Aquarius people as kind of like the kooks of the wheel, but we all have Aquarius in us, so we all have a little quirky kookiness in us, okay? It is both trying to be somewhat like structured, but also have freedom. Like, it wants to be independent, it wants to have its freedom, but it also wants to have things you know, in a way that it makes sense. It wants things to make sense. It's very innovative, creative, a little bit unorthodox. I like to say that Doc Brown from Back to the Future would be like the Aquarius energy in my mind. Very scientific. These are kind of like our genius people in the zodiac. But also, we all have Aquarius in us, so wherever we have that, those areas of life, we get to be a little quirky and a little bit like crazy mad genius. So I love that. And because of the sort of futuristic energy that I feel Aquarius has, that sort of eccentric, kind of experimental, I picked the Kaweco, I call it the unicorn pen, but I know it's called iridescent something or other. But I love this for this pen, for the Aquarius, because I just feel like it's, I don't know, it feels like something you would see in a movie that they would be using, the kids would be using in school, because it's got like this iridescent purpley pink I don't know, just feels futuristic to me. Feels very Aquarius. Now the ink that is in this one, I'm pretty sure is the same ink that I chose. Yes. This is Blizzard, again, from the Inkvent calendar. And this one is a shimmer ink. You can see the shimmery blue in there. So we'll swatch that one, and then we'll have one more, and we will have made it through our entire zodiacal wheel. All right. One of the things that I do when I read charts for people, when I read natal charts, I tend to handwrite things first before I make a lot of handwritten notes first before I go to like doing anything digital for them. And my fountain pens come in handy. So this is going to be like my little legend for working with colors. Like I'll charge up the person's reading a little bit with some inks and fountain pens. Oh, I didn't mean to dip that in the water yet. Okay, let's get this one on the card. Aquarius here. Digging it. And even though it is an air element, I picked that blue blizzardy. I went ahead and kept that in the pen because it's that water bearer energy. And I think that's important, right? To keep that in mind as well. So I felt like the blizzard did good for that. Last but not least, drum roll, boom, is Pisces. Pisces rounds out, is the last sign of the zodiac. It rounds out the wheel. It is a water element, and it is symbolized by two fish going in different directions but tethered to one another. And so it has this energy of like flow, imagination. Pisces energy is our like poetic, artistic energy. It's that idealistic, sort of romantic, intuitive and spiritual energy, very receptive and psychic kind of energy, very empathic energy. And if you don't know a Pisces really well, you might think they're wishy-washy, but they are absolutely not wishy-washy. They are gentle and compassionate people, very spiritual energies, very healing energies. But those two fish going in different directions make them seem like they're wishy-washy, but they're not. They actually want to go over here and learn a little and go over there and do a little. And so that energy. So I went with this pen by a company that I don't think is making pens anymore. It was a independent pen maker. I think his name was Mike. Pretty sure it was. And his company was Woodshed Pens, but I don't think he's still making pens, at least not under that name anymore. I bought this pen during his very first year of making pens, and I fell in love when I saw this online. He called it, I want to say he called it Scribble, but don't quote that. And it was a primary manipulation as well, where you take the primary colors and manipulate it. The only thing I don't like about this pen is it doesn't post, which I didn't know before I bought it. I should have checked on that, but I did not. But I love this pen. It's just gorgeous in my hand. It feels great. It writes beautifully. Really great pen. So I went with this because of the sort of the idealistic. I like to think too that Pisces energy is kind of the energy that when you are in the energy of someone who has a lot of Pisces in their chart, you just sort of dissolve into their energy in a beautiful way, not in a like you lose yourself, but in a, oh, this is a safe person to just be around and be in their energy when they're in balance with their own energy. So this feels like that. It feels like that sort of mystical, flowy, artistic. I think of channeling, and it looks like channels in here. I don't know. So this is the pen that I chose for Pisces. And the ink I chose is one of my all-time absolute favorites. And it's the very first pen ink, or fountain pen ink, that I purchased with, like, how do I describe this? That has just these, yeah, it's got like the shading and the sheening and the shimmer. That green is, yeah, so it's really beautiful. There was something I was going to say about it, but I lost my train of thought, y'all. Sorry about that. So Emerald of Chivor by J. Herbin. And I'm probably not saying that right. I think it's French, and I'm just making it Americanized. But this ink, the first time I saw this ink, I was like, oh my gosh. Somebody was sampling it at a pen show. And I was like, yep, going to get a bottle of that. I didn't even need to get a sample to try it. I was like, I must own that whole bottle. And you will see why in a moment here. So it has this blue-green kind of energy. But it does this really beautiful thing when it dries. Get it on this card. And so I think this really feels like Pisces energy, sort of mystical, magical. This ink is everything. It also stains everything it touches. It is a very staining ink. I'll just say that. Add that S. Shimmer, sheen, shading, and staining. All right, friends. So let's walk back around this wheel as I put the pins back in their place. Let me swatch Libra, because, you know, I think that I did not. Libra is Harmony, and it's a standard purple. So I'm just going to swatch that and say, friends, let me know what you think about this. Like, did you enjoy watching this? Even if you don't believe in astrology, or you've never had your astrological chart read, tell me what you think about this. I had a lot of fun with this. I had a lot of fun thinking about and planning and looking through my inks and pens. Like, y'all, it took me days to sit down and make my decisions, and I was really thoughtful about it. Everything really has very, meaning for me in this. I didn't just, willy-nilly. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm not trying to change my mind or anything. I'm pretty set that these are the ones I would, based on my current collection of inks and my current collection of pens, these are the colors and the pens that I would choose for each sign of the zodiac. So I'm going to walk back through them and return them to the case as I do. So for Aries, I've got the Schaefer icon for Aries, and I've mapped that with pen BBS 218. For Taurus, I have the Jim Rouse Special Franken pen, the Schaefer and Fountain Christoph mashup. And the ink that I chose for that is the Indian Blue Copper by De Artramentes. Somebody's going to tell me how to say that properly one day. The third pen for Gemini is by Acme Pen, and it is designed by an African-American artist, writer, illustrator, Tom Reeves. And the ink that I paired with this pen is the Razor Glass from the Ink Advent by Diamine. Diamine is what I want to say, yes. My next pen for Cancer was the Franklin Christoph O2 model in collaboration with Van Ness. And the ink that I chose for this was the Robert Oster Blue Moon. That's this one. Sorry, let me go around. That's this one. Oh, and let me show you. So this Robert Oster ink, this Blue Moon, can you see that red that's kind of showing up in there, that sheening? That is gorgeous to me. I love that a lot. Okay, my next pen was the Leo pen, and I chose the Pilot Vanishing Point Special Edition, or maybe limited edition, special edition. I don't know. They're the same to me sometimes. Let's go with limited edition because they do limit the number of them. This is the Crimson Sunrise from 2017. And the ink that I chose for that pen is called Red Robin by Diamine. Next up is, and that's this red. It's a really beautiful red. Next up is our Virgo. And I chose the Lamy Lux, the LX, in Rose Gold. And the ink that I chose is the Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua. Next up is Libra. And for Libra, I chose the Sensa Original Classic Fountain Pen. And the ink that I chose for this one was called Harmony. Pretty sure that's in the wrong place in my lineup. Sorry, they're lined up right in front of me here. And I'm like, is that correct? Yes. Harmony from the Inkvent calendar by Diamine again. And that's this purpley color here. It's a really beautiful purple that does a little bit of shifting there. Next up, I went with the Noldor model from Mayfair Pens. This is an indie maker, Ben Mayfair. And this is Scorpio. I chose the ink that I chose is the Warringall Myths Around the World Anubis ink. And that's this sort of blacky brown with a little bit of shimmer happening in there. The next pen, I chose a Perkio for Sagittarius, not necessarily this Perkio, any Perkio that can be interchanged and free to move about each pen body part. And I chose this bright orange that you see here, this Wanderlust ink from Diamine Inkvent. Next up, I have the Pilot Vanishing Point in black and white, the Stormtrooper. And I chose this for Capricorn. And the ink, I'm going to keep that out because I'm going to write with it. The ink that I chose for Capricorn is the Stargazer. And you can see it's got this black blue, but it's got a whole bunch of sheening in it. And it's just, I'm hoping y'all can get that on the camera. It's so gorgeous. That's that one. And then next I went with Aquarius. I went with the Kaweco Sport in the unicorn color. I'm sorry, that's my name for it. Pearlescent, iridescent, one of those is the name they use. And the ink I chose for that Aquarius energy is the Blizzard by Diamine. And then last but not least, I went with my Scribble pen by a company that I don't think exists anymore, Woodshed Pens, for Pisces. And the ink that I chose is Emerald of Chavour. And Emerald of Chavour is a really beautiful shimmer sheen ink. You can see it here again. You can see it doing a thing where it's like bringing in a little bit of like a brownish rusty sepia kind of color in with that teal. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous. All right, friends, that is my wheel. I will take a picture and pop that here at the end for you to see. Here are all the pens together. They're not like matching or anything, but I think this is a great, I love this. This will forever be my starting place for this. And maybe each year I will revisit it if I get new pens and I change them out. But this feels like a good zodiacal, well-rounded set of pens to map to each of the zodiac signs. So what I'm going to do to wrap up for myself, I won't make you watch me do this, but I'm going to go around to each of these and just write in which pen and which ink that I used and chose for it. So I'm going to do that, but I invite you to check it out. See which ones you like. Drop your sun sign if in the chat below. Tell me if you agree with the choice that I made for your sun sign. I would love to hear that. All in all, this was really cool. I think I will do this every year. If anything changes, I'll just recreate this every year and see what changes for me. Okay, loves, thank you. Have a beautiful rest of your now, and I will see you in all the places and spaces that we share. Thank you so much for continuing to be a part of this journey of creativity and yeah, connecting in and self-discovery. Thank you so much. Bye.